Hello, hello. What's up, Mike's son?
Hello.
All right, it looks like we got a great connection this time.
Yeah, what was up with that other stuff, man? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I mean, nowadays there's so many people, especially at that time of the day. I think just the servers coming from my country to yours are probably pretty full early in the morning and late at night for you. So probably around now too, especially on Facebook. And I think I'm sure they got millions more users for every one person on Zoom. So
Yeah.
I think
Or your Wi-Fi still sucks.
it might. I'm in the corner over here.
You do have a reputation for crap Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Said me or Japan does?
You. Like every time I try to video call you, it's something.
Yeah. Well, that's because
Hold on, let me get closer. You run around the house trying to find a signal.
I still do that. I'm about to go closer to the Wi-Fi here in a second. But I just actually recently found out that sometimes you thought they did it, but I just recently found out that companies literally slow down the old routers on purpose just to make new ones.
Yeah.
And I takes like my router at my gym and here at the house. I think the one at the house is pretty new, but the one at the gym, I think I've had it for like at least 5 or 6 years. I'm like, no wonder it's off every day.
They've been saying for a while, so it started out with, like, I know that you guys are setting these computers up to stop working right at about 1.5 years, 2 years, to just start bogging down. And then they tracked it down even to how they're doing it. It's like all these Windows updates that they do and all these different updates that they push, they're unnecessarily large. So what it does is it eats up your existing RAM, and they know that like RAM technology continues to advance every step. So you just need to update that in processor speed. So what they do is they release these unnecessarily large updates, and over time it just bogs your computer down. Even though like some of the technical proven, it's like you did not have to do this. Well, we're trying to increase the user interface and blah, blah. No, you didn't do anything.
You just
literally just made the exact font take up more space and energy to display. That's all you did.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I'm glad we have a good connection this time, because we had a really good conversation, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we're doing it again. But unfortunately, we don't have the live audience. But we'll make sure we get it to the masses. Hopefully, next time I can like insert the Wi-Fi chip into my heart.
Yeah.
Connection better. But so we're talking about life, business, and martial arts.
I don't think you're recording yet, are you?
No, it's recording.
Is it? I don't have the little recording alert.
Yeah, mine is.
Huh, normally there's an alert that says this is being recorded. Oh, yeah, sure, right there on the participants.
Oh, okay.
I use it on the iPad very often.
Yeah, I got mine on automatic recording, so I don't forget when I teach the classes. I use this one. I use this ID for my private lessons, and I use the specific ones for each class for those. But if not, I'll forget, and then everybody will, where's the videos? So what happened was, but so we're talking about life, business, and martial arts. So, how was your transition from? You just recently retired from the United States Marine Corps after a good while. I think straight 20 or right at 20, right?
Yeah.
Right at 20. So, how was your transition to the civilian side? Mine has been so long now. So,
yeah.
So long.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Again, I know it'll be maybe a little awkward because we just did this yesterday, but we had some audio tech issues. So hopefully I don't say anything different and contradict
Ah, it's
myself.
okay. It's okay. They didn't understand anything anyway. We were like,
For me, I mentioned yesterday, the biggest thing that I found was that the job I had selected going into the Marine Corps made my transition easier. Coming from a logistics background, a lot of the things that I had done in the Marine Corps were directly marketable to the civilian sector, and not just on the GS worker or the contractor for the government side. The skills of a logistician are needed pretty much everywhere in the working force. So when I thought about that a little bit when I first enlisted. I chose the supply and accounting option. I actually thought I was going to be a comptroller, close enough instead, but I thought about that going in because I only thought I was going to do 4 years initially. 20 years later, here I am retiring. That's a very different experience than some people from the ground side have. And that just gives me really a healthier respect for them because the ground side's coming out after 20 years in division and infantry. Their bodies are broken really bad. And their skills aren't that marketable. They've got great leadership skills and organizational skills, but it's sometimes hard to translate that as I'm seeing. And I mean, they've got opportunities as well. I'm not trying to downplay that. Just I was very thankful for all the opportunities the logistician side gave me coming up.
Yeah, my dad was he was a first sergeant, 2 tours in Vietnam, but when he came out, he was what, 24, 26 years in 1st Infantry Division for the Army. So he came out completely like a grunt. And but the cool thing was that he raced cars for most of his life. So he came out and got a job as a mechanic, and then eventually started teaching. Became a college professor for teaching automotives at the original Central Texas College. So, and he was telling me the stories about how he was trying to teach these, because he worked on his kind of cars all the time, his race cars, which is different from working on all cars. So he was telling me like he would teach everybody one day, and then that night he would go home and study all the textbooks that they had just so he can teach it the next day. But eventually, he got it down, and he had his own mechanic business and stuff like that. So it was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you got the instructor blood in you.
I hope so. I love teaching. But I was gonna say my experience coming out of the military was kind of the same, because I did logistics too, and I wanted to do some other jobs, and I'm glad that I did not get those. The other people that got the jobs that I wanted really hated it. Logistics, I didn't want to do it at first, but I understood that it was very marketable. And but I also, my last couple years as I was an adjutant. So my last couple of years, I was the S1, right, for what we call a battalion in the Army. So, and when I got out, I tried to get a logistics job here in Okinawa, but like everybody that was in a logistics position here in this beautiful island had not left for like 10, 15 years, and they didn't plan on leaving unless they passed away or got fired. So they were like, well, you got the perfect resume, but there's no jobs. So I ended up becoming human resources, which was fine because I did the adjutant personnel for the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years in the military. And I, climbed up a bit to become a human resources like middle manager. So it worked out well. So kind of the same story. We got to do some jobs that allowed us to flap our wings a little bit as soon as we got out. So,
HR's
no,
HR's no fun.
Yeah, I liked it though. But me though, I just like having those fresh challenges every day. It's really fun for me, like solving problems. So, people problems in that sense. So, as you were teaching, my next question is the core values that you have in the Marine Corps. How did they overlap with the core values in martial arts as you taught them and as you see it?
So again, same answer from yesterday. I saw less of the core values translating and more of the leadership skills. For me, I always tried to be a servant leader in the Marine Corps. My goal was always to prepare my junior Marines as best as I could and give them what they needed to succeed. And then they would in turn succeed and the mission would get taken care of. So it's not one of those things where, I never thought I could do it all myself or I had all the answers. I did my best to be what I needed to be for my subordinates so that they could go forth and accomplish the mission. And that translated very well on the jiu-jitsu side because I'm there as an instructor. It's not about my training. It's not about me getting better. It was about developing the students. So for me, that was an easy translation, easy bring those skills over there. Because you can always tell both in the Marine Corps and on the mats, you can tell if the instructor or your leadership cares about you or not.
Sure.
The words mean nothing. There's plenty of people out there that will say different things to your face. They'll post things on social media about leadership and they care, but they really don't. You know who those people are. And the people that they're talking to know too, whether they tell it to them or not, you can always see through it. People can actually care or not.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can tell, pretty easily, especially if you've been in the martial arts a while, like the people that are just trying to get some likes on their, Instagram, or whether they're really like that, especially once you meet them in person for a seminar or for rolling with them or whatever else. So yeah, definitely. But now that you moved on from the Corps, how is it teaching to people that have no military background? Because we're used to a certain, I grew up in Fort Hood, Texas, one of the largest spaces in the world, around, thousands and hundreds of thousands of military folks and dependents. And, and I'm here in the military community in Japan teaching, and we all have a certain type of personality or understand military personalities, right? Even the dependents do. So how is it translate to teaching just strict civilians that have none of this background?
So we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and I kind of made me think about some other things as we were talking about it. And the truth is both in the military and civilian side, you've got athletic people, you've got coordinated people, you've got unathletic people and uncoordinated people. Both the military and the civilian side both have them. Generally speaking, we like to believe that on the military side, they come in with a certain level of athleticism. But they also typically have a little bit bigger ego to deal with, and that's not a knock on them. It's just the process of making Marines, particularly, right? To believe you are the best. So, we need our warfighters to have that belief and that knowledge, that they're going to go forward and kill the enemy. So there's a bit of that, but you know what? There's plenty of ego on the civilian side too.
Yeah, I see that definitely. I can definitely agree with the physical part. Like I had mentioned as well, that some classes in the world, because everybody is civilian and they have regular jobs all day, plumbers, computer programmer, and they sit at the office, that when they go to class, they might have a class for an hour and a half or 2 hours, but the first 30 minutes or 45 minutes might be warm-ups and sort of a little calisthenics. And for most of my folks, especially the active duty, they're pretty much in shape already. And if you do calisthenics for 30 minutes, they're kind of like, I do this every day. So they're like, get to the moves. So I warm them up and then I get to the moves. But yeah, a little bit different mentality.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to a guy about that today. Or yesterday now. Just about drilling repeatedly just to drill the move. I've never been a fan of mindless drilling. I think that you teach the move, you let the people drill a little bit, and then you apply it in situational rolling. There has to be some drilling to get it down, but I do think drilling has a great place in conditioning. If you want to drill a pass, but do it for conditioning. Don't do it to get the move down perfect. Do it for conditioning. You know what I mean? To get it down smooth, to get those kind of things. That's why I like that long repetitive drilling. But set a time limit, make sure it's smooth, make sure it's good. But when we're trying to learn the move and apply it appropriately, I like to teach the move, drill it a few times, and then apply it in situational rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, situational rolling, and sometimes I even break it off into sections. So I'll start with sometimes I have if we're working on Americana key lock from the side mount, I might start in side mount, and then I might move it to actually holding on to one of the arms already, already setting it up for them and trying to escape from a little bit worse position. But yeah, it's definitely part of the game. And you see the people that really get into the positional, that really take it serious, it's like they skyrocket like past the other people that are just kind of casual, not say casually training mindset, not that they could be on the competition team or they could not be on the competition team. I don't mean that, but I mean their mentality when they're training and rolling is just kind of like nonchalant, like I'm just going through the motions, even if they are on the competition team. But the people that are laser focused and really understand that they need those positional trainings and they need to get smashed no matter what belt they are, like they just skyrocket.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to think about it. So how often do you end up in any one single position? I mean, in each position, I mean, you're probably not there that often unless it's, you know, on your back and you intentionally pull guard or something. So if you're working half guard passes, how easy is it for you to get to the half guard? Well, maybe it's easy, maybe it's not. The point is, if you start there and you continually start there, and if you pass that position, you revert to there, you just get that many more reps with that resisting opponent.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I remember,
you know, we've been doing that. Funny because the situational rolling seems to be popular in these last couple of years. You know, you got people coming out against drilling. I think they're coming out starkly against drilling just for attention. They don't truly believe that you even the Kit Dales, like you watch his videos and stuff, and he said, well, yeah, you got to drill a little bit in the beginning. But, you know, his headline will say, like, drilling's for idiots, you know, but he drills not ad nauseum, you know. But the thing is, I mean, we did this exact kind of situational training when I was in high school back in the 90s for wrestling. Like, so it's just kind of, you know, it's cool for me to see the progression of jiu-jitsu and, you know, coming around. And like we talked about, you know, oh, worm guard, it's this brand new thing. Like, oh, check out this picture from, you know, the 70s and the 50s, this guy doing worm guard, lapel guard.
yeah, yeah.
That's kind of like this revolving thing of what's popular now. But for me, situational rolling has always been an important part of my training. Maybe that's the reason why I've had some success here and there.
Yeah, and it keeps evolving. You know, people, there's lots of different, you know, methodologies of training, but it'll always be the, I think it'll always be the teachers that, like you said before, that really, really give a care, that want to see their people grow, and teachers that don't have that much of an ego. You know what I mean? So everybody has a little bit of ego, or we wouldn't wash our face and brush our teeth, but that's what people say. But they have more, they're more concerned with their students growing. So that's a big thing in today's world. So
we talk about cross training, right? Like that's always seems to be a hot topic, and I'll just give you my take. This is what I tell everybody whenever anybody asks me about cross training. I think cross training is super important. It's great if you have the opportunity to do it. I definitely recommend it, but you've got to have a home gym. You've got to have a single mentor that is there to guide and develop you. Because if you're learning 6 different arm bars Monday through Saturday, you're not going to be good at any of them.
It's
you know what I mean? You got that one person that is going to develop you, and let that cross training be the time to kind of expand your horizons a little bit. But then you got to come back to that single professor, that single instructor that is there to develop you. Because if you don't have that, you're going to be an inch deep and a mile wide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The way I always describe it to people is like a car, like building a car. You can have if you have a Toyota, I mean, you can jam a Corvette engine into it, like some of these, you know, supercar reproduction shows that they have on reality TV. You can do it, but that's why those people get paid $1 billion to stuff that Corvette engine in there and give you that candy paint job, is because it doesn't quite fit per se. And like each teacher has their own system. Like everything kind of works there, like the Caveirinha system or the Gracie Baja system, wherever it is, you know, it kind of fits like this, or Keenan Cornelius or Dana Harsh, Best Squad, you know, it fits like this. You can take other stuff and put it in there, but you got to whittle it down a little bit. You got to machine it down and fit it into your game, which is fine as long as you have the maturity to understand what kind of car you are and what kind of car you've been building your whole career, you know. So
well, and that's a big difference you just hit on right there, the maturity level, right? There's a big difference between white and blue belts, you know what I mean, doing the traveling everywhere and training at a bunch of different gyms versus, you know, a more senior belt, like a black belt that's already competing at a high level, or, you know, a brown belt trying to figure out, you know, what their top level game is going to be like. Those people kind of already have their pieces put together. So for them, it's trying to find the new challenge and things like that. And that's what kind of frustrates me a little bit, is a lot of the advice that says, you know, F having a home gym, we don't need it, I don't need any kind of affiliation. It's coming from people that already have their base, that already, you know, came up under one pipeline and they've already built it. And they're giving this advice to people that are brand new, you know, and it becomes the white belt and the blue belt mafia, you know, carrying the torch, because there's more of them, right?
Which group is that on Facebook? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All of them. All these groups are ruled by BJJ blue belts and white belts that know everything. And champions.
They get a soundbite, they don't understand the context behind it, and they're off to the races.
Yeah, totally understandable. Oh man, I don't even comment in some of those groups. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too easy, and they're gonna blow up my Facebook notifications for 3 days. So my next question is, I have 2 more questions for you. As both an MMA and grappling champion, so MMA champion, and you got 3rd at Worlds for no-gi, IBJJF. And what is your #1 tip for those aspiring to be a champion martial artist like you?
It's the obvious answer. It's consistency. It's no secret. Everybody pretty much will tell you it's consistency. It's training day in and day out, year round, never giving up. It's an injury, but it's coming right back to it as soon as you can. It's being there on the days you don't want to be there. It's learning as much as you can. And it really comes down to Josh Hinger gave it to me best, and he got it from Andre Galvao. He said, you just got to do your best. And it sounds simple at first, but then you dig into it, and it's you got to do your best on a given day. Hey man, my neck is sore. Like, I don't know if I should go in or not, or if I should just watch or do yoga. Do your best. Right? You know your best, and nobody can tell you, and you can't lie to yourself. You can lie to other people. You can show up and sit aside and say, I couldn't do anything today. I was kind of tired. Knowing you could have got out there, that wasn't your best.
Yeah.
But if you're genuinely hurt, sitting on the side and watching or doing some stretching or just doing some light drills, maybe that is your best, and just go do it. Do your best. Ask yourself the question, take an evaluation of where you are and what you're doing. And if you can say you honestly did your best that day, great. Accept that, be happy with it, and move on and live to fight another day.
Yeah,
but if you can, competition class, go out there and do your best. It doesn't matter if you're not the best guy. It doesn't matter if you're out there getting smashed every day. Do your best, right? Because not only are you getting better, but your training partner needs you to give your best. What they don't need is for you to go out there and roll over and capitulate within the first 60 seconds because you know the other person's better. You know what I mean? Fight with your best game from the bell to bell. You know what I mean? That is how you help your training partners too. It doesn't matter if you're going with a multi-time world champion. You know, giving your best is what they need to get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They said all ships arise with that tide.
That rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, if everybody goes in there. And you know, it's one of those things I've had on my gym since forever. That little no excuses sign has been in the background of every picture for like 10, 11 years. And you know, I'm the same way. And I think after we've been doing it this long, like, it's hard for us to even understand what it is to sit on the sidelines. Like, because we always have, you know, we've always, even I think when we were just coming up in the martial arts world, we always did something. Like, if we were hurt, it's like, train, find something to do. Are your arms hurt? Well, great, you got squats and abs today. But some people, especially in the younger generation, I don't mean to harp on them, but in the younger, some people in the younger generation, well, I'd say a lot of them, it's just like, you know, my nails hurt, I can't train today. And I'm like, what? Train, man. You know, so different mentality, but I can't say that it's everybody in the younger generation, but definitely
there's some focused, hardworking people.
Oh yeah,
very young.
But you know what it is,
for how they get that. I mean, if we did, we'd be pumping up champions left and right. It doesn't really come down to focus though.
Yeah, there's some people that come to me that become that way very quickly, and then there's people that came to me like that because they had other coaches in the past that pushed them pretty hard and wouldn't let them make excuses. So it's always, for me, it's always a blessing. I know it is for you too. When you have students that come in, even if they're not the greatest, they do their best, but you know, they got that drive and they listen. There's so many folks that people I can think of so many students from my side of the house that, you know, some people didn't necessarily like rolling with or got tired of rolling with because they had that mentality of just, you know, I'm going to be my best every day, even if you're the guy that wants to whine or the girl that wants to whine. And, you know, some people are like, I'm just, you know, I'm just here just for the exercise. But when they go with somebody else, they try to smash them. But when they go with the person that's really focused, all of a sudden, I'm just here for exercise. Don't hurt me. I'm like, there, man.
I thought what you just did to that 13-year-old kid over there.
Right? Oh my gosh. Or the people, remember, or you know, the people that when you're about to tap them, they start coaching you. Oh, no, you should do it like this. You'll make it even tighter. All right,
Yeah.
man. Oh my God. Shh, go to sleep.
I'm sure they've got it just fine.
They're good. All right. So my next, well, I got two more questions because we have one from the internet. So what is your number one tip for, so we talked about the martial arts doing it aspect. So what is your number one tip for those wishing to be great at teaching and being a martial arts entrepreneur? Because after you started your first gym there in 29 Palms, it grew pretty quickly. And, you know, you asked me a few questions because I've been doing it for a while, but most of it, you know, like 99% of it was just your heart and your dedication from both you and your wife, just really putting a lot of work into it. So what's your best tip for people that want to do the martial entrepreneur side?
So again, it's a two-part for me. It's separate for the instructor and the business side, because teaching isn't the same as running the business. There are some people that are really good teachers and they don't know how to run the business side at all. There's also some really savvy business people that may only be blue belts or purple belts or even white belts, but they're just really savvy at the business side. So you got to understand that they're not the same. You can be good at both. You can be good at neither. You can be good at one. For me, my biggest advice on the business side is to hire anybody or hire someone for a job that you don't want to do yourself. There's something in the business that you just do not like, you generally disgust you, or you just don't like it, hire somebody else to do it. There's probably somebody out there that's willing to do it and they're really good at it, and which is going to only help in the long run anyway. Better to hire somebody and you know, lose that little bit of profit there by hiring them. You will gain it back in both happiness and probably profit because they're going to do a lot better job than you will doing a job you don't like doing. For me, it was the I hated processing paperwork. I hated talking to people about the payments, about, hey, why haven't you paid this day? But then I have to turn around and be their mentor and their guide on the martial arts journey. So the day I hired somebody for that, my life got, you know, exponentially better. So that was one of the smartest things I did on the business side. On the instructor, you just got to empathize. You know what I mean? You got to try to understand where your students are coming from. Understand that what they want might not be what you want for them. And you can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. You can't make everybody come to competition class. You can't hammer everybody. And at the same time, you have to understand that not everybody wants to come to practice, just do a couple of shrimps, do a couple of drills, and then, you know, one roll and then leave. So you kind of have to empathize a little bit, or at least read your students, figure out what they're. It makes me laugh sometimes when people look at these like the cardio kickboxing classes for the ladies. You know, they'll post these pictures up of these ladies hitting the bags and they're swinging super wide and their kicks are ugly, and they're like, oh man, what is this guy teaching them? Well, you know what? They're probably there just for a workout. They're probably never going to get in the ring, and it's probably like within the first month they're going to get better. Trust me. But they just hound on these people but you got to remember, not everybody has these aspirations. Some people just want to work out. But some people also, they want to get hammered, they want to get smashed, they want to get submitted. When they call out the black belt, it's because they want to get thrashed. And if you don't give them that, they feel disappointed. So you've really got to, you know the type I'm talking about. Like they call you up, they want to get it. You know what I mean?
Oh God, tell me about it. That's where all my injuries come from walking around in class, and I'm all like, my muscles are completely cold, and they're like, roll with me, professor, or spar with me, sensei. And I'm like, come on, man.
I remember the first time that I didn't, like when I first started out and I had that happen to me. Like I rolled a person, I was really polite with them. They were real strong, young Marine, but I was polite to them because I didn't want them to say this isn't for me and just roll out. You know, I just showed them that they're going to do. And afterwards, he just had this super disappointed look on his face because, you know, I don't even think I tapped him out once. I got him into positions, but then just let him go. And he was so disappointed and he was like, oh man, I thought I was going to, would you be nice to me? Why? He was just really didn't like it. I was like, well, okay, we can go again. And then I completely smashed him, and he had the biggest smile on his face afterwards. He's like, that was came and signed up, and he had a good time. So
yeah, it's funny. Oh my gosh, that happens to me like every day. You have, oh my goodness, like every single day. Like, but I mean, it's just getting to know your students, like I said, or like you said. And sometimes I have this one guy. I think you met him already. I won't say his name on here, but like we'll be sparring. Like he's really good. Like he's gotten like astronomically better. Like he fought for a belt in MMA a couple months ago, lost by decision after 3 grueling, crazy rounds, and it was really close. But and everybody that came from around Japan or where else, the military side was just like flabbergasted at how good he got in just like a year and a half or 2 years. But yeah, he's the type of guy, like I'll spar with him, and he's sparring with everybody else a straight face, and I spar with him, I start, and he's like, give it to me. You can tell his face like he's really into it. And I'll start doing all my crazy stuff that you remember me doing, and he'll stop in the middle of fights and just mouthpiece hanging out. What was that? That was so cool. Teach me how to do it. But he's such a sponge, and I think that's what gives us so much energy as teachers, is just getting that feedback from everybody and learning how everybody's personality and what they want from us, and just really, like you said, empathizing. So every day. So the last question for you was from the live video. So I'll do it here so you can answer it there, and we can let her hear that. She asked, how have you how has everything changed for you, like your training and your mentality through the pandemic with everything that's going on? So I know you guys are just, and we'll talk about your spot now that you're at in Florida, but you guys are just now starting to come out of the first phase, like in the quarantine stuff. But how has your mind frame or your training or anything changed during the quarantine?
Yeah. So again, for me, the biggest thing I've seen come out of this is the masses acceptance of the online training and distance education. Basically, I remember, and again, the disclaimer is nothing beats going into your academy trade and learning from your professor, rolling with your students. Nothing to beat that. I mean, that's obviously the coup de grace, right? But there is great value in the online portal, right? There's great value in distance education. And I've been a believer of this for years because, like how I talked about it yesterday with somebody. I remember when me and you were coming up, there was not an academy on every corner, but like there is now. Your only knowledge came from if somebody had a VHS of, some of these videos, or somebody happened to have a book of some moves, and you guys were through there. And I still distinctly remember having Eddie Bravo's 10th Planet book, and it was almost all text with just a few pictures, very few pictures. And that's how I learned the lockdown and the truck position and the twister, things like that. I learned from reading book, not even like an online video. Like that's how it was back then. You know what I mean? And I got my education online, my bachelor's and my master's was through distance education. So I've been a believer in it a long time. I've been a believer in the telework idea. Still always understanding that nothing trumps face-to-face, nothing trumps going in. That is still the best. That does not mean there is not great value in the Zoom calls and the distance education and the online portal. And I think people are really awakened to that. I've been helping a lot of people, a lot of small businesses, the academies and stuff through this lockdown and their financial side. And they're seeing that this online classes that they're doing, they're keeping them. Even when the doors open back up, like them. And it's a way that, hey, you know what? Even if I can't make it to the academy for whatever reason, at least I've got the online class. So it's becoming a permanent part of their curriculum and their structure. And I love that.
Yeah, it's changed. I started my really gotten, because I've had a coaching program. I've trained probably close to 40 assistant instructors now, people that have gone out. But now I can actually have the class I've always wanted. Like I can train with them and meet with them every week around the world. So it's starting to build up now, and it's something I'm going to keep going. And I have students, alumni that have popped back in, and they're doing online classes with us from everywhere in the world. It is crazy. And I never thought it'd be like this. And the funniest thing, I was going to say the funniest thing when I thought about the online classes was how everybody, especially in jiu-jitsu, everybody, I know I might get hate for this one, but everybody used to talk bad about the Gracie University online. And I don't know, there's like one school in the whole world that's not doing online right now. Everybody should talk about them so bad. And, and I know they're over there like drinking their coffee like, see, we've been doing this a long time. You know what I mean? Everybody used to laugh at us, and now look, everybody's doing it.
Right. Well, and there's a yin and a yang there too, right? So a lot of the condemnation from the community for that came from the fact that you could go from 0 to hero, you could go from off the street to blue belt with only going to an academy one time.
Yeah, they were doing the testing like this.
That's where a lot of the I think the negativity, the blowback came from. But like I said, there's a yin and a yang. So what about the places that yet to have an academy close? People think that jiu-jitsu is absolutely everywhere, but the truth is it's still very much a niche sport. Now it's growing, it's expanding. You know what I mean? It's in a lot of places, you know, but there's still, the America's pretty damn big. There's still some places that there's not an academy that you have choices from. So I mean, I always thought like, well, I can see in that scenario. I don't know who would choose to do pure online if they had an academy choice. Like that makes me always wonder, you know what I mean? But I fully believe in the online supplement, and I think that's great. I mean, look how big the BJJ Fanatic videos are selling. You know what I mean? Who was it? Tom DeBlas released a little bit of data. He did the free video for one of the weekends. I don't even remember what the event was, but it was only open for a couple of days. And he said they can count the downloads. He gave away the equivalent of $1.4 million in those couple of days that he had that
what, 90,000 downloads or something like that.
Something crazy, you know what I mean? On just their average price, you know, something like 1.4 million. And I'm grasping at straws those numbers, but they're fairly close. But the point is that in this internet age, you know what I mean? People are into that.
Yeah. Jeez, and I never thought I'd see the day when a DVD, Gordon Ryan's DVD of him just rolling at ADCC talking about stuff that he's doing in the match. You know, you got to buy it for like $250. I never thought I'd see that day, like where it went past like $14 for a DVD. But if you remember, maybe about when it first came out, I bought Andre Galval's book, or maybe you or somebody else bought it for me. I think I bought it. Did you buy it for me?
I did.
But I said, oh, okay, I know what it was. I think you bought one. Huh?
I got two. I picked up one for myself, and then I got you one.
Okay, yeah. So that's how I found out the prices was. You bought one for me, and I liked it so much, I bought one for somebody else as a gift. And I remember the price back then was kind of like about $30 or something like that for the book. And it was pretty good. It was really good, well made, really thick, lots of drills. And they're drills I still use to this day for many things. But I remember going in there years later and wanting to buy one of the students, wanting to get them a gift and get them that book. I was like, oh, it's like $30, won't be a big deal. That thing was like $130, $150. Because
they don't print them anymore.
Yeah, the sport had blown up by then, and it was like 5 times the price. It's like, wow.
The ones that are out there are the only ones, and I know that because I gave mine to the Torres brothers down in Mexico, and then somebody else asked about it, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe like I'll go get another one, and I looked for it, and I couldn't find it except for used copies, and of course like the multiple $100 or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's a great. Like you said, I mean, shoot, there's a ton of drills in there that I've been using for years. And what's also kind of interesting is, you know, you look at that book, and which is gigantic. You know, there's, gosh, how many that thing? Maybe 200 or something crazy? I don't know.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
Like you see people build at the academy, like, oh, here's this new drill I learned. Like, well, yeah, that's it's not a whole lot new. It's just stuff that goes in cycles, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that was our last question on here. So other than that, what are you doing in the world today as far as the gym that you're teaching at now, and also anything that you're doing outside of the martial arts as well?
I'm glad you asked. So right now, the Academy of Pensacola just opened back up. They're doing just one for the adult side, it's just one class a week. I'm teaching on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Just doing some no-gi classes. Everybody's trying to ease back into it. We're keeping it really light. The worst thing that happen is people, come from couch to, 100% hard roll. They're going to hurt something. So we're just keeping it nice and easy right now. So we hope everybody gets back on the mat, eases back into it. For me, myself, I decided to start doing financial planning professionally. I've been doing it on an amateur level for many, many years, helping those around me, the junior Marines, the people around the academies, the peers and stuff. And it's nice to see that on the professional side, the concepts are all the same. I'm just learning a lot more in depth in particulars now. But the concepts that I've been using for years are the exact same. So I'm just happy and excited to help those around me. And of course, I start with my network I know. So if anybody's interested, please hit me up. You can just send me a message or, send me an email if anyone knows how to get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you guys about making smart money, smart choices with your money.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike's Professor Mike, Sensei Mike. And look forward to doing this again. Hopefully the next time we can go on and keep that live. I'll get some good Wi-Fi, like I said, and take some live questions. So it's definitely like when I do my live videos, if I stay on there for a good 10, 15 minutes, there's usually about 5 to 10 questions from people around the world. So and matter of fact, when we did the other live one, there were some professors from other places that were like, oh man, I wanted to hop in there and ask some questions, but of course oh my gosh, but we'll figure it out and we'll get it done. But thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you soon, sir. What is it? It's morning there, right?
Yeah, 10 a.m.
Okay, well, have a good morning. I am starting back on my really good. I noticed my muscles are getting small, so I'm starting on a little bit more hardcore regimen starting tomorrow.
Nice.
This past week, I've been in the lab, basically just making sure my online classes and everything are, top quality for people that are watching. Like we talked about, the martial arts scene has changed and people are willing to do the online, but like I've always been, I'm a big believer in quality is the main ingredient. So I've been up some late nights trying to make it as best and as perfect as I can. And in that, when I don't get a lot of sleep, I don't like to work out too hard because your body, at my age now, the body starts to crash a little bit and it takes a couple of days to recover if I try to do that. So I took a few days off from training, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Got to keep practicing when I preach, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, Mike. Look forward to talking to you soon, sir. Have a good one. I love Juliana. Bye-bye.